J. Welcome to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Jay Real. We're just so happy to have you back into the house, back into the studio with us. We are going to cover some NBA today, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. First news. Now, this isn't updated information, but we haven't had a chance to cover it yet, so we want to go ahead and just dive right on in with Kevin Garnett and Paul Peirce getting traded to, that's right, the Brooklyn Nets. Now, not only did the Celtics give up Paul Peirce and Kevin Garnett, but they gave up Jason Terry as well. So basically what the Celtics are doing is they're dismantling and blowing up that whole team and planning for the future. Now, the Nets, on the other hand, are going all out, balls to the wall, championship quality team. But does that actually mean it's going to happen? Paul Peirce and Kevin Garnett, while they're good players, great players, I feel that they have hit that plateau and now they're on the downside of their careers. As a matter of fact, Kevin Garnett, playing in 15 years in the league, he's been in there a long time. He's been hanging in. Paul Peirce, over a decade with the Celtics. This guy has some years and his body is also slowing down. To me, the Nets taking a chance like this. Now, what did the Nets give up? They gave up 3 first-round picks continuing over the next 4 years. They have picks from this year, 2016 and 2018. Now, they did break that up into, so they didn't get it back to back to back. But they're giving up 3 first-round picks for 2, in my opinion, towards the backside of their career players, and Jason Terry, who you could also say is at the back end of his career, but he is a shooting threat. Jason Terry, amazing guy. We're just gonna have to sit and see how this plays out. They did make that move. They did make that transition. So that's just the way it's gonna have to play out. Now, what we're gonna do is we are gonna have to wait and see if the age of the Nets is going to show. They have a rookie coach. I mean, Jason Kidd was playing last season, and this guy is now a head coach. That's unbelievable and kind of exciting. We're going to have to see. He has some great players on the Nets now. There should be no excuse on why they don't perform and do well in this upcoming season. Again, for the Celtics, they have years to build, years to transition. They need to find a head coach because, as we all know already, Doc Rivers, he also saw the sinking ship and jumped ship like the rest of the superstars on the team. Poor Rajon Rondo, who's he going to pass to? I mean, this guy's going to get totally ran over next season. And it's a little bit to do with his own personality and attitude. A lot of people say it's very difficult to deal with Rajon Rondo. So he's going to get a taste for himself to be the leader and see what happens there in the Celtic land. So anyway, interesting developments there. And then also the Celtics did pick up Chris Humphries and Gerald Wallace in the trade. Again, not great players. Some might not even say good players, but they did get some extra help on the bench or even possibly starters. Now, moving on, the Heat. We've been hearing a lot about why the Heat won their second championship back to back. And we're always hearing about this next gear or this next level that the Heat have that nobody else has. And we're going to have to say that is not absolutely correct. It's not so much a gear or a level that they have. What it is talent and youth. If you put those two together, you're going to find out a lot of teams can win ball games over, now we know, teamwork and experience. So, what do we mean? Okay, so you have the Heat that went through brutal series back-to-back, Indiana, then finishing off in the finals with the Spurs. Let's take a look at what this next level or this next gear really means. They're trying to translate it as to, well, sometimes the Heat want to play, sometimes they don't, and if they do want to play but they get pushed, they'll kick it into this next gear. Here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show, we just look at it as when they get pushed, that talent, that youth, that they have the ability to step it up, we always call it as second wind. They get that second wind, and then that talent kicks in, and with their youth, I mean, let's just break it down. LeBron James at 28 years old, Chris Bosh at 29, and I believe Dwayne Wade still around 30, 31 years old. Even though Dwayne Wade's body is breaking down, when he is healthy, he still can push into that next level, that next gear, or get that second win, and the guy is full of talent. Let's not forget, before LeBron James came, he was already a world champion. That team was already a deep in the playoff team. So let's just quit with the next gear and next level, and let's just understand what basketball is. If you have 3, possibly 4 of the best talents in the NBA, and they have youth still behind them, they are going to be able to get that second win and do something special when it comes to winning big games. Let's look at the Spurs. They ran out of gas. They could not get that second win. They could not go to that next gear or level. Why? Because most of their veterans are 35 plus years old. So I don't know. I've never been on an NBA team. I've never claimed to know what it's like to be on an NBA team, but let's just look at the facts. You put 4 or 5 years of playing in the NBA on somebody's back, and that's wear and tear on the body. That's stress on the body. That's injuries. Just the natural aging process is going to slow those players down. They're not going to have that other gear, that extra second win, as I like to put it. So that's why the Heat seem to be able to do this, because most of their superstars, if not all of their superstars, still have youth behind them. Again, even Dwayne Wade has 4 or 5 years if he can start rebuilding his body and get it healthy to be very productive. As we saw through this season, there were some days of greatness through Wade, and there were some days where he didn't show up. Could be he was hurting, could be he was injured, who knows. But when it was all said and done, he helped his team win another championship, just like Bosh, just like Ray Allen, just like the big guy, LeBron James. Now, Ray Allen, on the other hand, again, he is at the end of his career. He is that functional player to come in and hit that amazing 3 to keep the game going, so the other guys, the youthful, talented guys, can get in there and bang it out every day. 40 minutes, 35 plus minutes a game, and get to that next level. So we just wanted to explain that, because we just kept hearing, oh, the Heat have this amazing next level or next gear that nobody else has. It's not that complicated. It's actually very simple. We just explained that next gear or next level. Pretty common, actually. Now, moving on, Dwight Howard. This guy, I mean, last year he wasn't even that good. I mean, would he be good to have on your team? Absolutely. We're not going to say he's not a good player. But why are all these people fighting for the guy like he's Shaquille O'Neal in the prime of his career? The guy is prone to get injured. He has back problems, knee problems. He has very big personality issues. He conflicts with everybody. This guy is a cancer in an organization. Why is LA putting billboards out begging this guy to stay? What kind of team is LA showing themselves to be when they got to beg somebody to keep their uniform on? That is just embarrassing. I don't understand it, and I don't understand why the people and the fans of LA would want to beg someone to stay. If they don't want to stay, show them the walking papers. hit the pavement, whatever you want to call it, get him out of there. It's just amazing. Now you got Houston possibly fighting for this guy. You got Dallas Mavericks supposedly willing to give up everything under the sun for this man. I just don't get why. I understand that in the NBA we love our big men, but the problem is they got to produce. We can almost put Dwight Howard, and I don't want to say almost, but I'm almost just thinking of the two together when I think of Dwight Howard and Bynum. Bynum, who used to be with the 76ers and now free agent, has got all these teams interested, and the guy doesn't want to work out for any of the teams. He just expects someone to go, hey, that's Bynum. Let's give him $20 million a year, sign him for 5 years. Last year, the guy sat on the bench the whole year. I mean, come on. There needs to be a time where these coaches and these NBA owners have to say, you know what, it's not worth it. It's not worth handicapping the franchise for a big man that isn't going to produce the results that you're going to want, which is a championship. Now, will Dwight Howard help Houston? Absolutely, because they got a pretty solid roster already. So, if I were Dwight Howard, if I was Houston, that makes a little more match than anywhere else that I've seen or heard of, just because if you want to win, it seems like you could plug him into a pretty good system already and make it a little bit better. That's about it. Not great, not amazing, just a little bit better. So we'll have to see. I have a feeling if he doesn't stay in LA, which honestly, if I was any team member or fan, I wouldn't want the guy there. But if he doesn't stay in LA, I believe strongly, just as a lot of other talk show hosts and sports people have said, that he'll end up in Houston. Okay, now get back to this Bynum situation. You know what? Bynum needs to just go. No one should sign him. No one should pick him up. No one should even mess with this guy. First, he's injured, and he's probably going to be injured forever. So why would anyone pay millions of dollars and deal with this guy's prima donna personality when it's not even worth the time or the effort when it comes to Bynum? The guy is a total cancer and is a total destruction to a locker room. If I was any team, I would stay away from Bynum. Now, moving on, Chris Paul did re-sign, and as many people probably know, with the Clippers for a large, lucrative deal, 5-year, $107 million deal, and it's pretty known that he's the reason why Doc Rivers ended up in the Clippers organization. Now, the Clippers, my gosh, these guys should be amazing. These guys should be pushing the Heat, but they don't have that competitive person in the locker room to drive this team to that next level. They got the youth and they got the talent, but why can't they get to that next gear or level like the Heat? We personally think here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show, because they don't have any leadership. They don't have somebody that's a big name on this team that has been on the big stage, that can push this team to get to that level. That's just our opinion on it, but they are a good team, got a good coach. Time will tell if they can push the Heat, because as we said in every show since the championship win by the Heat, they're going to be there next year too. So it's going to be the Heat and who can push them. All right. So that's Chris Paul. NBA, we're going to go ahead and wrap up with that. We just wanted to get some of that information out there and let you folks know. Running on over to and jumping across the tennis information, Serena Williams just got bumped by her, it's not even a rival really, but Lisicki. She upset Serena Williams in Wimbledon, but you got to give Serena Williams a break. The lady wins every freaking tournament she almost plays in. She might lose a couple of tournaments a year, and you know what? Big deal. You can't win them all. Serena Williams is still one of the best women's tennis players in the world, even after playing for so many years. Imagine the wear and tear on that woman's body. My gosh. But she did get upset in Wimbledon, so sorry to see that. U.S. got bumped. And Federer actually got bumped way at the beginning. Something's going on with that guy. A lot of folks say that he doesn't get with the high-tech equipment. He likes to stay with the old-school equipment, which kind of handicaps him in today's game. Who knows? But there's a little tennis update, and then we're going to go ahead and just wrap up the show. We're really all glad that you took the time to tune in and check us out on this Tuesday edition of the show. We got to thank the Player Zone and Right On Time Errand and Delivery Service again for being our sponsors and hooking us up with the house, giving us somewhere to come to you all with our cuts on the sports topics that are hot, either during that week or the few days before the show actually comes out. So thank those guys. As you can see, some cool stuff. They get new stuff every day, including a huge selection of comic books and sports memorabilia. If you want to contact them, you can go to the Player Zone on Facebook, or you can go to www.riadosomidtown.com, click on the Merchants tab, go right to the Player Zone, and get in contact with them. If you want to contact us here directly at the show, all you got to do is go to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show, or you can leave feedback right here on YouTube, and hey, we use it. Believe me, you leave information, or you have a question, or you have comments, or you have an idea for the show, we use that stuff. And if you're in the Ruidoso area and you'd be interested in sitting right here as my co-host for the show, it can happen. Get in contact with us. But lastly, we just want to wrap up with athlete talk. What we mean by that is these athletes are so criticized. They are so critiqued. I see every day you have reporters, sports reporters, anchors, sports show hosts, everyone under the sun, analyzing and breaking down every single word an athlete says. It is totally ridiculous. We're going to almost kind of go back to what we did on last Friday's show, where, you know what, people have a right to say and feel and think whatever they want. That is the part of being an American. And I'm not going to jump on my soapbox. We want to stay very specific to talking with athletes and what athletes have to say. If you don't care what an athlete has to say, don't get upset when an athlete tells a reporter to take a hike. He doesn't want to talk. But no, if an athlete says he doesn't want to talk, or he doesn't want to talk about a specific topic or subject, guess what? He's on the front page of the newspapers. He's on the talk shows, and everyone's breaking him down. Oh, he's this, and he's selfish, and he's immature, and he's doesn't know what this athlete sport's about because he doesn't want to talk to people. Then when he does actually talk about something, or she does have a comment about something, and it isn't what we like to hear, and it isn't politically correct to say certain things, they're on the freaking cross crucified. Give me a freaking break, people. Leave these folks alone. If they have something to say, take it for what they say. Don't get offended. Don't get all butthurt. And just say, hey, at least they have an opinion about something, and leave it at that. It's not that big of a freaking deal. Why is everyone on Serena Williams? Because she had a few comments about another tennis player. Who cares? My gosh. Why is it so bad that athletes can't talk, and then when they do, it's just as bad? It's like a double-edged sword. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. Here personally, we love for athletes to talk. We love to hear them say controversial stuff because it gives us something to talk about. But we're not going to condemn them, and we're not going to chastise them. If any one of you out there, whether you're a reporter, sports announcer, sports writer, sports talk show host, whatever, radio, any person on this planet, if you had someone with a microphone in your face 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long, believe me, you're going to say something in a matter of time that could be controversial or offend somebody. So how in the world are we, or you know who you are going to just totally blast somebody because they say something that is controversial or that is offensive to a certain race or people? It's just nature. Every day our language and what we say could offend someone. Doesn't mean we're racist. Doesn't mean we're satanic people. It just means language is language. It comes in an everyday paragraph, sentence, whatever you want to call it. It's in our vocabulary. So please, folks, Jay Real's going to end the show with, don't take things so seriously. And I said this in the show last week because we have to end on the same note. There's so many other things that we should be worrying about than what people say and what people feel and what people think. That's our God-given right as an American to live in America and be free. Anyway, J Real's going to sign out. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Be sure you leave feedback. Let us know what you think. Good, bad, indifference. We can take it. J Real signing out. We'll see you on Friday's show. Peace and much love. J